Namaste. So I'm going to read Book 3, Chapter 12, on the Amba Yajna rules. Om Vakratuna Mahakaya Surya Koti Samprabha Niravigaram Kurvideva Sarvakaya. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Guru Saksha Maha Devi Samprabha The king spoke. O Lord, kindly describe the rules and regulations as to how the Devi Yajna sacrifice is performed with its duly prescribed rites and ceremonies. Hearing it, I will unwed perform it as far as it lies in my power, with as little delay as possible. How the worship is done, what are the mantras, what are the articles required for oblations, how many Brahmins are required, and what dakshinas are to be paid to them. Describe in detail all these. Vyasa said, O king, I am telling you duly how the yajna is performed here. The actions are always threefold, according as the preparations are made and according as they are practiced with regard to the observed rules. The threefold divisions are Sattvic, Rajasic, and Tamasic. The Munis do the Sattvic puja. The kings celebrate Rajasic, and the Rakshasas do the Tamasic pujas. There is another puja, which is devoid of qualities and which is performed by the liberated ones. I will describe to you all these in detail. O king, the yajna is then called Sattvic when it is performed in a Sattvic country like Banaras, etc., in Sattvic time, etc., in Uttaraniya, when the materials collected are earned rightly, when the mantras are those of the Vedas, when the Brahmin is Srotriya, where there is Sattvic faith, void of any attachment towards the sensual objects. When these happen to coincide, O king? When all the above takes place and there is purification of materials, actions, and mantras, i.e., when the materials are all right, when the actions are done as they ought to be, and where there is no error or omission, etc., in the mantras, etc., then only the yajna becomes perfect and no doubt yield full results. There would be nothing contrary to this. If the yajna is performed with articles not rightly earned, then there is no fame either in this world, nor there is any reward in the next world. Therefore, it is necessary that the yajna should be performed with rightly earned materials. Then there is fame in this world and better state in the next world, and happiness is also acquired. There is no doubt in this. O king, it is before your eyes, as it were, that the Pandavas performed the Rajasuya Yajna, the king of sacrifices, and on the completion whereof the excellent dakshinas were paid to the Brahmins and others. In that yajna, the highly intelligent Sri Krishna himself, the Lord of the Yadavas, was present, as well as many other Brahmanas, like Bharadvaja and other fully enlightened souls. But within 3 months, after completing the sacrifice, the Pandavas suffered extreme hardships and had to live with extreme difficulty as exiles in the forest. Consider the insult shown towards Draupadi, the Pandavas' defeat in the play of gambling, their going away to dwell in the forest. These hardships were borne by the Pandavas. What rewards did then the Pandavas derive from the Rajasuya Yajna? All the high-souled Pandavas had to work as slaves of Virata, and Draupadi, the best of women, was very much troubled and insulted by Kichika. When all these occurred, anyone can easily ask, where were the Ashirvadas of the pure soul Brahmanas? Also, what result did they derive from their unflinching devotion towards Lord Krishna when they were involved in the above critical state? No one protected Draupadi, the chaste and the best, the daughter of Draupada, when she was drawn by her hair on her head into the hall of assembly where gambling was being played. O king, how could all these happen in a place where Sri Bhagavan Keshava himself and the high-souled Yudhishthira were present? If one argues, one would conclude there must have been something wrong in that yajna. If you say that nothing wrong happened in the yajna, all these were caused by fate, then it comes to this, that the Vedic mantras, agamas, and the other Vedic rites are all fruitless. If it be argued that though the Vedic mantras are powerful enough to bear fruits, yet whatever is predestined to come to pass will surely pass, then the proposition resolves into this, that all the means, expedients, and appliances lead to meaningless conclusions. Then the Agamas, the Vedas, merely recommend a vidhi or precept by stating the good arising from its proper observance and the evils arising from its omission, and also by adducing historical instances as its support. In other words, they are powerless as far as bearing fruits is concerned, or the acts are meaningless. Asceticism to attain heaven comes as useless as the peculiar duties of caste are fruitless. O king, this view is exceedingly culpable. It is never fit for acceptance by the high-souled persons. O king, if what is laid by God in the womb of futurity, a state of things preordained by God, in which it is sure to take place in the fullness of time, be taken as the first-hand proof, then all the other proofs are rendered null and void. Therefore, fate and human exertion both are to be undoubtedly taken into account to ensure success. Human exertions being applied, if the results come otherwise, the wise pundits would infer that some defects, omissions, or imperfections crept into the work. While the pundits, very learned and institutors of sacrifices, have classed karmas under different headings according as the agents, mantras, and articles employed in the worship vary. Once on an occasion, Visvarupa, ordained as a guru by Indra in a yajna, intentionally did things contrary, so as to benefit the dechas who belong to his mother's side. Visvarupa uttered repeatedly the mantrams beneficial to the gods, while they were present, and during their absence prayed heartedly for the welfare of the dechas, and in the long run protected the dechas. On seeing the asuras gaining strength, Indra, the lord of the devas, became very much enraged and instantly cut off Vishwarupa's head by his thunderbolt. Okay, this is then the instance where the contrary fruits were borne out by the agent employed in performing the yajna. There's no doubt in this. This is not possible in the other cases. See again. The king of Panchala performed his sacrifice to get a son to kill Drona, the son of Bharadvaja, and though he did this out of angry motives, still Dristadumna was born out of fire, and Draupadi sprang out of the altar. Again, in days of yore, Dasaratha, the king of Kosala, was sonless, and he instituted a sacrifice to get one son, and lo, begot 4 sons. Therefore, O king, if the yajna be performed according to proper rules and regulations, it yields fruits in all respects, Again, if it be done unrighteously, without any regard for the rules, etc., it yields results just the contrary. There is no doubt in this. Therefore, there must have been some defects in the yajna of the Pandavas, hence contrary effects ensued, and therefore the truthful king Yudhishthira and his powerful brothers and the chaste Draupadi were all defeated in the play at dice. It might be that the materials were not of a good stamp. They were all earned by killing the kings, good many in number, and earned thus unrighteously, or it might happen that the Pandavas did the yajna with too much egoism. However, this is certain that they had crept in some defects in their actions. O king, the sattvic yajna is rare. It can be done only by the sattvic munis, who live in the third order of the household life, or who live as hermits. The ascetics that eat daily the sattvic food, the roots and fruits collected from forest and obtained rightly, that is good to the munis, and that is well cleaned and purified, are the only ones that can perform with full devotion the sattvic yajna. Where no animals are sacrificed, where there are no sacrificial posts to which the victim is fastened at the time of immolation, and where offerings of cakes of ground rice in vessels are given. These are the best of all the sattvic yajnas. The Kshatriyas and the Vaishyas perform the yajnas with abhiman, self-conceit and egoism. Where many presents are given, animals are sacrificed, and all things are well cleansed, purified, and elaborately decorated. This yajna is called rajasic. That yajna, according to the sages, tamasic, where the Danavas, puffed up with arrogance, infatuated with anger, jealousy, and wickedness, perform their acts with the sole object of killing their enemies. That yajna is called manas yag, or manasic mental, where the high soul munis, void of worldly desires, collect mentally all the necessary articles and perform the yajna with the sole object of liberation from the bondages of the world. In all the other yajnas than the manas yag, some imperfections or other naturally arise due to some defects in the materials or want of faith or in the performance or in the Brahmins. No other yajnas can be so complete as the manasa yajna. The reason being that in the other yajnas some imperfections come out due to time, place, and separate ingredients to be collected. Now here, who are the persons fit to undertake this mental yajna in honor of the great goddess? First, this mind is to be purified by making it void of the gunas. The mind be pure, the body becomes also pure. There is no doubt, when the mind becomes completely pure, after it has abandoned all sensual objects fit for enjoyment, then that man is entitled to perform the mother's yajna. There he should build mentally the big hall for sacrifice, many yojanas wide, decorated with high polished pillars out of the materials brought for the purpose, example, fortitude, etc. Within the hall he will imagine a wide and spacious altar and place the holy fire on it mentally according to due rules and regulations. He is to select mentally the Brahmin priests and consecrate them as Brahma, Adharyu, Hota, Prastota, Udgata, Pratihatra, and other assistants. He is to worship mentally all these priests. Then he will have to imagine the 5 vayus, prana, apana, vyana, samana, and udana, as the 5 fires. I'll locate them duly on the altar. Pranavayu stands for Garhapatya, apana for Ahavaniya, Ahavaniya, Vyana for Dakshina, Samana for Avasatya, and Udana for Sabya Agni. These fires are all very terrible. Then one should place these carefully on the altar with great concentration of mind. He is to collect then all the other necessary materials and think that all are very pure and free from any defects. The Manasik Yajna, mind, is the offerer of oblations, and mind, the Yajmana, the performer of the sacrifice, and the presiding deity of the sacrifice is the Nirguna Brahma, the great goddess, the Nirguna energy, who is always auspicious and gives the feeling of dispassion and indifference to worldly objects, is the awarder of fruits in this yajna. She is the Brahma Vidya, she is the substratum of all, and she is all-pervading. The Brahmin is to take the Devi's name and offer oblations in the fire of prana, the necessary articles for the Devi's satisfaction. Then he is to make his chitta and prana void of any worldly thought or any worldly support, and to offer oblations to the eternal Brahma through the mouth of Kundalini, the serpent fire. Next, within his Nirvikalpa mind, by means of samadhi, he should meditate own self, the Maheshwari, herself by his consciousness. Thus, when he will see his own self in all the beings and all the beings of his own self, then the jiva will get the vision of the goddess Mahavidya, giving auspicious liberation, moksha. O king, after the high-souled munis have seen the goddess of everlasting intelligence and bliss, then he becomes the knower of Brahman. All the Maya, the cause of this universe, becomes burnt up. Only as long as the body remains, the Prarabdha karma remains. Then the jivas become liberated. While living, and when the body dissolves, he attains to final liberation. Therefore, O child, whoever worships the mother becomes crowned with success. There is no doubt in this. Therefore, follow the advice of the Guru, the spiritual teacher, and with all attention here, think and meditate on the great goddess of the world. O king, liberation is sure to ensure of this Manasa Yajna. All the other yajnas are sakama, with some object in view, and therefore their effects are temporary. He who wants enjoyments in heaven should perform the Agnistoma Yajna with due rites and ceremonies. Such is the Vedic injunctions. But when the acquired merit expires, the sacrificer will have to come again into this world of mortals. Therefore, the Manasa Yajna is eternal and best. The Manasa Yajna is not fit to be performed by kings intent on getting victory. The yajna that you perform, the serpent yajna, is tamasic. If you wanted to take vengeance on your enemy, the serpent Taksaka, and millions of serpents were made to be burnt in that sacrifice. O king, hear now about the Devi Yajna that was performed by Vishnu in the beginning of the creation. You better now do that Devi Yajna with due rules. I will tell you all about the rules. They are Brahmins that know the rules and know best also the Vedas. They know also the Sid mantrams of the Devi as well as the rules of their application. They are clever in all the mantrams. These will be your priest, and you yourself will be the sacrificer. O king, do the sacrifice duly and deliver your father from hell by the merits that you will acquire thereby. O sinless one, the sin incurred on account of insulting a Brahmin is serious and leads the sinner to hell. Your father committed that sin and incurred the curse from a Brahmin, therefore he has gone to the hell. Your father died also out of a snake bite, which is not a murderous one. The death occurred also in a palace built high up in the air on a pillar, instead of taking place on the ground on a bed of kusha grass. O best of the Kurus, the death did not occur in any battle nor on the banks of the Ganges, void of proper bathing and charities, etc. He died in a palace. O best of kings, all the ugly causes leading to hell were present. In the case of your father, see again, there's also one thing which done will lead to one's liberation, but that was absent too with your father. That is this: let a man remain wherever he may, whenever he comes to learn that his end is approaching, even if he had not practiced before any good practices or virtuous deeds, and even if he becomes sinless in the trial time of death, when dispassion comes to an individual whose mind gets for the time being clear and free from any worldly thoughts, then he should think thus: this is my body, composed of 5 elements, will soon be destroyed. There is no cause whatsoever in having any remorse for it. Let whatever come, that it may, I am free, void of qualities, and I am the eternal Purusha. Death is not capable to do any harm to me. All the elements are liable to decay and destruction. What remorse can overtake me? I am not a man of the world. I am always free. Eternal Brahma. Eternal Brahma. I have got no connection with this body. That is merely the outcome of actions. Before I did virtuous or unvirtuous acts leading to happiness and pain, therefore I have to get this mortal coil, and am enjoying the fruits of my past auspicious or inauspicious karma. Whoever thinks thus and dies, even if he does not take a proper purificatory bath or make any charity, he gets himself freed from this awful samsara and never comes to see himself again born in this world. O king, this method of parting from one's body is really attained even by the yogins. This is the Akmi, the highest height of all the human efforts towards liberation. But your father, hearing even the curse from a Brahmin, retained his attachment towards his body. Therefore he did not attain this dispassion. He thought thus: my body is now free from any disease, my kingdom is free from enemies or any other source of danger. How can I now get myself saved from this untimely death? Thinking thus, he ordered to call the Brahmins who know the mantras. Then that king ascended to the palace with medicines, many mantras, and many other instruments. He considered his fate to be the strongest, and therefore did not take his bath in any holy place. He did not perform any charities, did not sleep on the ground, or remember any mantra of the Devi. Due to Kali entering into his body, he committed the sin of insulting an ascetic and plunged himself in the ocean of delusion and died, bitten by Taksaka snake on the top of a palace. The king has now fallen undoubtedly to the hell on account of those vicious deeds. Therefore, king, dost thou deliver your father from the sin. Sutasara Rishis, hearing these words from the fairy Vyasa, the king Janamejaya became very sad, and tears came from his eyes and flowed down his cheeks and throat. He then exclaimed in a suffocating voice, "Fie on me, my father is still in the hell. I will now do at once whatever leads to my father to heaven." Thus ends the 12th chapter on the Ambayajna rules in the 3rd Adhyaya of the Srimad Devi Bhagavatam, the Mahapuranam of 18,000 verses, composed by Maharishi Vedvyasa. Om Janti Mangalakali Bhadrakali Kapali Takakashmash. To your mother, Chubitatu.